Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, you may have just seen on social media, if you're joining us a little bit live, is that we were bored. We're sitting around and like Socrates, it's funny. We always joke around about the fact that this is the opposite of a wrestling show. Normally a wrestling show starts late. We always start early, and it's mainly because we want content. We want to bring stuff out. So of course, Sara St.Clair is going to be our guest tonight. She's probably going to be joining us 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock. She will be joining us here on the show. Of course, Socrates is here with me, also live in studio. Of course, Jason Rushman, the Happy Hour podcast #1 fan. How you doing tonight, my dude? Thank you for joining us.
Godzilla.
But no, of course, last night, Caitlin Bell was supposed to be our special guest host. Caitlin unfortunately got caught up with the timing. So, of course, there's a lot of confusion we get, with East Coast, Eastern time, Pacific time, all that. So, it's kind of thing. Caitlin, she's super cool. She will be back to guest co-host sometime down in the future, but she just got the times mixed up. She thought it was going to be 7:30 p.m., Pacific time instead of Eastern time. So, that kind of shit happens. But of course, Socrates, everybody knows, that kind of stuff happens when you're live. And that's how this show goes. This show goes fully out, balls to the wall, live each and every episode. So, of course, anybody who joined us last night, of course, our guest was Sherry Nelson. If you didn't see it last night, click the subscribe button right down at the bottom end of the screen. Make sure you give that a view. Still fun. We went through the whole thing of John R. Brinkley, who was the doctor that transferred testicles from goats to humans, which was really awesome seeing how that came down. And I found a cool trailer to a documentary based around him, which showed a lot of that. So it's definitely happening. And of course, if nobody joined us last night, you missed out. Of course, my birthday was last week. Our guest, Sherry Nelson, super awesome. She sent a cake, down to me. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm actually going to go ahead and pull the cake up on screen. So for anybody who wasn't here last night, who didn't see, this was the cake that Sherry Nelson sent last night. That's the cake in its glorious form. So a booby cake, it says breast wishes Ray. And
I'm looking forward to eating a piece of it.
Oh, dude, like that cake is by far the heaviest fucking cake I have ever carried in my life. Like one boob of it is heavy alone. So like Matt went home with a boob. You're going to go home tonight, Socrates, with a boob of that. And me and my wife have the remaining part that says Ray 38 to ourselves to split up. But that was an amazing cake. It's actually a bakery right down here in Washington, DC, Erotic Cakes. I'm going to reach out to them later on in the week. I want to do a fully fermented episode with them where we feature them on the show, our local feature. So, that's going to be cool going down there and being able to talk to them and see what kind of cakes they've done and, all that other shit, with that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff that we have going on. Of course, make sure you go out and buy some of our merchandise. Of course, we have a new t-shirt provider, which is Below the Collar, who also, takes care of pro wrestling tees, 1 hour tees, all that stuff. The quality's super good. Jason, Matt is off tonight. A lot of times when we do these double up episodes, if we run randomly during the week, or if we do a back-to-back consecutive episode, Matt has 2 kids, so it's a little bit harder for him to do like the consecutive episodes. If we stick to 1 episode a week, it's a lot easier for Matt to make it then. Other than that, it's either going to be Socrates, Ashley Pontius, Caitlin Bell, whoever else that can help us out with the show. But I mean, Socrates, like what all have you had going on, man? Like it's been a little bit since you've been on the show. So what's going on with the High Priest? Of course, we're going to be going to the Orioles game tomorrow. So yeah, so if anybody local is at Camden Yards and you're a fan of the show, make sure you pop over, say hello to myself, say hello to Socrates. We will be there as I watch Socrates' Detroit Tigers get shit whipped by the Baltimore Orioles like they did last night and how they probably will tonight as well.
The Tigers have yet to win a game that Ray and I have attended together.
Yes.
But hey,
yes.
Hey,
and I love that so much.
Ask the Undertaker. All streaks are made to be broken.
Yes, they are.
But no, if you were asking me what I've been going on, nothing much. Been living in a motel for like the last 3 weeks.
Yes.
I relapsed twice. I OD'd on sleeping pills, and I was banging a junkie. I've been banging a junkie thought. That's pretty much my life.
Yes, you were telling me on the drive here how some of that stuff with the junkie thought was going, and I'm just looking like.
Well, I will tell.
I don't know what else to say, man.
I will tell one quick story on the air.
Okay. The floor is yours, Socrates, unless you want the ceiling, and then the ceiling can be yours. It doesn't matter. We don't reach very high on the show. We reach very, very low below the belt.
The floor was mine when I relapsed last week. I'll tell you that. But
the floor wasn't very high, Socrates. You were very high.
I won't even get into that. But she's cool girl, cool chick. But I'm not going to tell the whole story. We talked about it on the way over here. But she came over. We had a little argument, and we made up the next day. No big deal. But she asked me. She's like, "Did I leave anything here last night?" I was like, "Well, yeah, you left a whole thing full of paraphernalia." So I threw it in the dumpster. And she was going through withdrawals because she didn't have any of her shit. And she's like, "Shit." She's like, "You think it's still in there? I could look out there and get that needle and like squirt it up my nose."
Wait, she could get the needle and squirt it up her nose?
That's what she said. Don't ask
Jesus Christ.
I'm not actually lying. I'm not an expert on these things. But shout out to Heather. She's a fun girl. And I took her to Phillips Seafood. It was an $87 bill, not counting the tip. And she spent the first 20 minutes in the bathroom because she scored drugs in West Baltimore on the way down there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But here's the best part, right? When you go on a date with a chick who's a junkie, we ordered her food first. So she got the crab dip, which is really good. Yeah. And since she was in the bathroom doing her shit, I ate like half of her crab dip.
Really?
So that was one advantage. I mean, I paid for it, so why not, right?
Shit. Like,
why not, right?
And it's funny because we're always doing business. I got a text message because I had asked one of my reps, of course, Aline Shapiro. Shout out to Aline. She sends us a lot of guests. She's been on the show herself, of course. Sherry Nelson. We met through Eileen. I was asking her about, hey, who do you want to send us, guest wise for May? And I'm not gonna say who it is, but it's kind of a big name. Oh, okay. So, between music, wrestling, whatever, they've done both. So, but
you'll have to tell me off air.
Yeah, I'm going to have to tell you off air, but she won't know until Monday. So once she knows Monday, I will know. And then once I know, I will have it immediately announced once I know, but that's the way things work. That's how things work. And that type of guest is actually the ideal one, like probably an ideal guest that we could have on this show that can roll with the punches of our show and have an excellent time. So, and Socrates, if you're kind of like blanking on it, I will give a hint of think of late 2000s WCW. That's all I have to say. So late 2000s WCW, but also, all that. And Jason said, why is Socrates not in the video? Every time Socrates comes by, Socrates has a rare condition with his eyes. So the brightness from the screen makes his eyes, does something to his eyes. So pretty much what happens is you get like, if you've ever seen the movie, So if you ever, hold on, and wait. So there's Socrates right there. So Socrates is on the screen now. High priest is here. So, but what happens?
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, what happens is when Socrates, if he looks at the screen too long, it's like the reverse effect of Alien. Instead of it's basically like, instead of it popping out of his chest, his eyeballs pop out of his head and, kill folks. But no, that's the whole thing. That's why whenever Socrates is here.
Here's the thing though. I've been watching a lot about this, this AI generated voice stuff.
Oh, dude.
How How do you wait a minute? How do you know High Priest is here, or this isn't just AI generated?
I always joke around and say that you're our AI co-host whenever you're on a lot, like, because it's just like, it's like, okay, well, Ray's talking, but you hear somebody else and you know all that. And I mean,
See,
the
this
thing
is what
is,
I'm gonna do. I keep wanting to get Jay Bowler on this show. I'm gonna find somebody who doesn't have voices, and I'm gonna get AI Jay Bowler on the show. It's gonna be the highest rated episode you've ever done.
That they now have with the AI, they now have something with the AI to where you can type in what you want it to say, and it'll say that, but in whatever voice you want it to say.
Oh yeah,
like someone had Tom Brady doing comedy as Tom Brady, and it sounded exactly like fucking Tom Brady. Dude, so I'm sure you can fucking do that and make it happen.
I was just watching on Fox News today. There was some chick on there. Somebody got an AI generated thing of her daughter's voice and called as a kidnapper and tried to fucking scam her out of money because they had her daughter's voice and they said she was kidnapped. And like she called the cops, and the cops like, no, your daughter's fine. She's with her father. And like she literally had to like go to where her daughter was because she thought that she was with the kidnapper. Nice. I was like, this shit is just like, this is just starting out. People are already doing this. Can you imagine what's gonna be like 5 years? Oh man.
Like, I mean, that's like, it's weird with the AI stuff because, you know, like Elon Musk has already said, hey, tap the brakes a little bit with like the robot stuff and the artificial intelligence shit. You know,
you better listen.
Regardless of how you feel about Elon, the dude's making a great fucking point because what's going to happen is iRobot is going to happen. That those things are going to get pissed off and they're going to kill every single person there. And what's going to happen is they're probably going to peel our faces off. They want to be human so bad they're going to wear our faces like a deranged android fucking Leatherface or some shit like that, and just have a great fucking day, have a great fucking time. Like, you know, that's just the whole fucking thing.
This is how it ends.
And of course, this is the last of our double shot weekends. We were super backed up with guests, so we wanted to try to get a lot of guests through. A lot of things came through. So
you're like Jericho and Corette now. You do 2 episodes a week or so over.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like we have such a demand for, you know, guests and all that. And, you know, I really wish the show has gone to heights I never thought it would. We're getting ready to enter our 4th season.
And sometimes the lows we never thought it would.
Yeah. Well,
when I'm on.
I mean, well, see, here's the thing.
We're talking off air. We've been doing this for
June
3
years in June.
Man.
That's insane.
It seems like we just did that first Warpix episode.
June 9th, which, you know, Blood used to always comment that I was great with my segues. June 9th, of course, our TheHHPod Rumble. That is our 4th anniversary show. That is the conclusion of season 3, and then season 4 begins the following week.
And if you haven't seen the commercial, we've got the old school Rumble music, which is
great. That will actually play later during our ads. So when we take our commercial break, which we may end up doing twice, we may end up taking 2 breaks at some point since we started way earlier than what we used to. But of course, last night, you know, we talked about John R. Brinkley. Tonight, we are going to talk about Project Pigeon. So we were talking a little bit about it, you know, before we came on. So, and I'm a big guy on watching the show Mysteries at the Museum. And that's where I find some of these fucking stories, is that, you know, shit will be at them. That's how I came across the National Spy Museum, which I visited when I went to DC, because I saw a lot of cool shit on Mysteries at the Museum. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to go there. Like, you know, Virginia Beach has a really cool like aquatic center and all that. And me and Jess, actually, I wanted to talk about this last night, and you're another, you know, you're a fellow music guy. So, you know, of course, Stained just dropped their first new single in 12 years.
It's good too.
And it is good. It's a modern version. And I've always been a huge Stained fan. Stained has always done it for me. Like I always told people that Stained got me through every part of my life. It got me through the happy times. It got me through the sad times. It got me through the times when I wanted to put a gun in my mouth. Like it got me through all of those times. So Stained has always, you know, kind of been there. And it's the kind of thing that, you know, that song Lowest in Me that they just released. I now officially, me and Jess are going to go see them at Virginia Beach at the Veterans Amphitheater in Virginia Beach in July. And I can't fucking wait. And it's been a long time. I think, what was it? It was Uproar 2012 was the last time we saw Godsmack. So yeah, and I'm not sure if you went to that when we did the Happy Hour TV thing. So, but yeah,
I got to mention this though, since you brought that up. The first show I ever went to was Ozfest '99. Godsmack had actually just released their first album, so I got to see them the very and Stained. Get this, I actually saw Stain before their first album came out.
Oh yeah.
They opened for Korn down the arena.
Well,
and like nobody, like,
yeah.
what was the first single? Mud Shovel.
Mud Shovel.
Mud
Yes,
Shovel. Mud
yes.
Shovel had just come out.
Was it Mud Shovel or was it the original Mud Shovel? Because I'm not sure if you remember this or not, but do you remember Stain's original album? It wasn't Dysfunction.
No.
A lot of people, anybody
right.
out there will
Yeah,
say
I
it's
can't
Dysfunction.
remember.
It's not.
Mm.
They don't acknowledge it.
Mm.
It's Torment.
Oh,
Torment
right,
was their
okay.
first album.
Okay.
And the reason why it's not acknowledged is because it said Torment,
Mhm.
and it like it said it in like kind of bloody lettering,
Mhm.
and it had Jesus on an upside down cross. He
That's
was
right.
crucified to
Yeah.
an upside down
I
cross.
forgot about that.
So it was a big thing because of that.
Mhm.
So they don't really talk about Torment, but that had the original Mud Shovel. They had what the hell was it? There was one song on there that carried over to Dysfunction. I forgot what it was, but that carried over to Dysfunction. And then the original Mud Shovel, which I actually like a little bit better than the Mud Shovel they have.
I actually, I actually don't remember the original. Was it heavier?
I wish I could play it on here, but we'll probably get like a bad copyright thing if we. But what I will do is I'll look and see if I can find the album cover, because that was the thing. So let me see. So let's see. Stained Tour TORM Tormented album ALBUM. So there it is. So Stained Tormented. Let's see. Oh yeah. So here it is right here. So this was the this is Wikipedia. So let me just go ahead and pull this up right here. Get a good look on that, and then I will pull this up here on Zoom too.
Forever.
So that's what that was the original like Stained album,
like Cannibal Corpse shit.
that came out.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, and it's weird because they do not acknowledge that album at all. So it's crazy that that's not acknowledged, and it says parental advisory explicit content, like that's Stained to its truest form. But it's insane to me why that is not acknowledged or whatever.
I don't remember because it's been so long. But I'm guessing when I saw them with Korn, they probably played some songs off of that. Because they didn't have anything else. Like Mud Shovel had just come out, like the radio version. So they probably played a few songs off of that when I saw them.
Oh yeah, no, and I mean Come Again. That's what it was. Come Again ended up making it onto Dysfunction. So you look at it, Tormented had Painful, Four Walls / Funeral, See Through, Self-Destruct, Nameless, Break, Tolerate, Mud Shovel, Question, No One's Kind, and Come Again, which Come Again ended up onto that. And it said the songs Tormented are about topics such as pain, animosity, suicide, and depression. So that's the whole thing. And Stained, and it says here they officially formed in 1995, and Tormented was self-released on November 29th, 96. So they self-released that. So that was like pretty
3
much
years before the
so that was before the studio release. So that's probably why it's not acknowledged. But I've liked Stained since Tormented. Like that's the thing. That's how much of a Stained fan I am when it comes down to that, is that the Tormented album is what did it for me. And that's the whole thing. And of course, Jason's commenting. He said, "How is Tom doing? Tell him I said hi. If you see him, Jason, I sure will." Tom Nutty, of course, he also has kids. They play softball and baseball. So, between him doing his comedy stuff and between him, doing baseball, softball games with his kids, Tom ends up very, very tied up, very, very quickly. And, when he ends up tied up, he doesn't normally end up in,
and not tied up in the good way.
And I mean, that's the thing. So, but no, I mean, and like, get this, like, I was driving the other day, and I was on Bel Air Road down near me, and I see all these fucking cop cars flying by, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, whatever. It is what it is. And I'm listening to 98 Rock. Shout out to 98 Rock. Of course, Marianne and Justin has been on this program in the past. Shout out to 98 Rock. I was listening to 98 Rock, and they were saying something about there was a guy who was pulled over and arrested from New Jersey. And pretty much what happened is the guy was living in somebody's basement, and they were like, "Bro, you got to go. Like, we don't want you to live here anymore." Lady didn't want him to live there anymore. He was causing problems. So instead of leaving, he kills the woman and her 9-year-old daughter with an axe. And like, they posed a question, which is the same question I'm about to ask. How can you axe a 9-year-old? Like, what kind of sick son of a bitch
It's
does that?
I'm gonna go on the record and say
like,
that's not a very nice thing to do.
Yeah, it like, dude, like I've heard some crazy shit, but that's fucking insane. But I mean, that's the whole thing. I was like, oh well, I guess this is what's going on.
Well, did you see?
You know, with
it's similar to that. I just saw in the news today. I forget where it was, but there was some guy and a bunch of kids were playing basketball, and the ball rolled on his lawn. And he got so pissed that the ball rolled on his lawn that he came with a gun. He shot a 6-year-old girl and her father.
Jesus Christ!
Like, damn, I'm like, that's a mild overreaction, I would say. But the girl survived. I think her dad's in like critical condition, and he turned himself in. But yeah.
I mean, dude,
you know what's fucked up though? This fucker that axed the 9-year-old.
Yeah,
that gives axes a bad name because you remember Harvey the Hatchet. Harvey the Hatchet would have never axed a 9-year-old.
Yeah, like, because he's a hatchet. Yeah, like, you know,
might have split a few skulls in the ring.
Speaking of which, of course, last night we brought back What the Fuck Is That Food, because Ray posted some new food and I wanted to put it up. So we didn't do
what the
our
fuck was that food?
It was pretty much, it looked like it was fries with eggs with ketchup on top of it. So which isn't too bad. He's getting better. So we didn't do our How Did We Get Here segment. So tonight we're doing our How Did We Get Here segment, and the axing thing kind of reminds me of our How Did We Get Here segment or whatever,
preview of this.
And all that shit. So Socrates seen a preview of it. Hopefully our guest isn't too mortified once we pull that up. But no, I mean, all kinds of cool shit going on. Actually, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hop a little bit into a couple of episodes ago. I wasn't able to get into it, but I'm going to talk about when I went to the Jersey Shore. You didn't go that first trip. When we went to the Jersey Shore, and I had
pancreatitis.
A 14-hour binge at the Jersey Shore. Like I remember we went. This was 2010. The year I met my wife, but it was like a couple months before I met her. And this was how bad my drinking had became, that we went to the Jersey Shore. We went out, we partied like that first night, whatever. So everybody's all exhausted. And you know how it was a lot of times, dude. We would go places and people would just kind of be like, oh, let's hang in the place. I'm just kind of like, no, I'm still like that. I'm like, no, fuck that. I don't want to be in the place. I want to go do things. I can be in the place at my place. So it's like 8 a.m. Everybody's like, let's go get breakfast. I'm like, no. Fuck you, bitches. I'm going out and I'm going to drink. And they're like, you're going to drink at 8 o'clock in the morning? I'm like, we're in Jersey Shore. Peace out, whatever. So I leave. They call me at like, I think 5 o'clock PM when they're ready to go out to the bar. And they're like, oh, blah, 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 but we're going here. We're going here. I'm like, you realize that like, I've just been out an entire work day, right? Drinking by myself, and nobody has called me. Nobody has texted me. They're not like, hey, Ray, are you still alive?
You could have drowned
like that. Yeah, like who knows, you could have gotten hooked up with Snooki or something like that. Nobody knew anything. So everybody's like, okay, we're going here, we're going here. At that point, they're telling us where they want it. They're telling me where they are because they want me to meet up with them. At this point, I am so incoherently drunk that I have absolutely no fucking clue where I am or where I'm going or, anything like that. So I'm just, wandering around, and it's so I'm out, and I think I started drinking at 8 a.m. Oh, no, it wasn't 8. I remember like I got done around like 2. So I probably left around like 10 in the morning. So 10 a.m., 2 o'clock. And eventually they find me. So like I'm just obliterated. And I remember, like, you remember Joe Hamilton, like we're sitting there, we're walking, and we end up in a neighborhood. Like, I don't know how we ended up from a boardwalk to a neighborhood, but like we're in a neighborhood, and this guy has a boat on a hitch. And I remember me and Joe had our shirts off because we always had the kind of thing that we would always take our clothes off whenever, first chance that we got, we would just take our clothes off. That's just how we were. So we would take our clothes off, and like I'm shirtless, and Joe's like, I bet you won't climb up on that boat over there and like, rub your balls on that guy's steering wheel or whatever. And I'm like, I'll definitely do that. So I scale the boat hitch on top of the boat, which a boat hitch isn't really that high. So I don't know why I said scale, like it's a fucking building or some shit. So I climb up on the boat, and I'm rubbing my balls against this guy's, fucking boat wheel or steering wheel. And all of a sudden I feel like some like vibration. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then like, I'm just thinking that I'm so drunk from 14 hours worth of drinking that the world around me is starting to move. When in all actuality, the boat hitch is now slowly starting to move down the guy's parking lot, or whatever, like his little parking pad, and I'm just up there like, oh shit. So I like jump, and it's like one of those like jumps where my feet are running in air, like a slow motion like movie jump where I'm just like running in air, and I like hit the ground and like bang my head on like his grass. And like at this point, like his lights are on, the guy comes outside, he's like, you motherfucker, and like me and Joe are like just running, and I'm running with like a patch of grass sticking off like my fucking head or whatever, and all this shit. I don't know what happened to his boat hitch, and I'll tell that story because it's been like 13 years.
The statute of
limitation from that. Yeah, and you guys nobody, if the authority is watching this, they don't know whether or not I'm telling the truth. I am, but they don't know. Like that's the whole thing.
You almost inadvertently stole a boat.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I just wanted like that, but that was the same night.
Gotta do what you, hey, every once in a while, you just gotta rub your balls on a man's boat. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, and I mean, like, so. It's the whole thing of I don't know where these things come from in your mind. Like that's the whole thing. Like the night when we met Son and we took the pizza and or all the countless times I've ripped the toilets out of the ground or off the wall. Like I don't know where these things come from, but they're there. Like
I had never heard that story. I was supposed to go on that trip. I didn't go because my pancreatitis. It's probably a good thing I didn't go because you can imagine what you and me got into.
Oh, dude.
Think about this. That was like probably a month after the party bus.
Yeah.
The infamous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I remember I was at the bar and I was drinking. This was a few hours before. I was at the bar and I'm drinking. And I'm talking to this chick, and this dude keeps on coming over and like sending her drinks. And I'm just kind of like, all right, whatever. And like, she's like, he keeps buying me drinks. I'm not really that interested. I'm like, well, that's fine. I'm like, he may be from Jersey, and I say a lot. I'm like, I'm from Baltimore and we kill people there. And like, then all of a sudden, like, no wonder why that didn't work, because she's just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, but I don't know. It was such a wild time. Like if me and you were together, something like that wouldn't happen, because if you remember, what was it? We were at the beach house. We're at the beach house. So it was me, you, and Blood.
Oh god!
And that was the night when you sheiked out and you almost fought the guys. And like they were sitting there talking shit.
Bang that hot
and I was trying, like I'm talking that this is like 2008. Like I'm sitting there trying to talk to this chick, and like Socrates is just sitting there, just losing his fucking mind, just absolutely fucking losing his mind. And like Socrates is sitting there, I look over and I'm talking to the chick, I look over and I see Socrates just drawing the line in the dirt. And he's like, you son of a bitches, you cross this fucking line right now, I'll fucking kill you, blah blah. And I was like, I gotta go help my friends. I'll be right back. Like but that.
You may have been asked politely to leave.
Yeah.
But you know what the Jersey story you just told, though, of you drinking 14 hours straight?
Yeah.
That reminded me of something. It actually reminded me of the first Pittsburgh trip.
Yes.
Because we go up there, of course, we've told the story about the 23 pitchers and this, that, and the other. But we were coming back because remember the show was in the afternoon on a Sunday.
It was because we were still drunk when we did that show. So that's how much we drank before.
The show got over, I don't know, maybe like 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
So like we're coming back, we're probably like an hour out of the area. And I'm sitting in the back seat, and you and Blood are up front. And of course I have my infamous, 32-ounce thermos. And I'm drinking the whiskey, and Blood just turns around. The medicine. Yes. Blood just turns around and looks at me, he's like, you're still drinking?
Like, me and Blood are like trying to come back to life. And like you're still drinking, but were you with us? Was it me, you, and Blood tonight, or was it just me and Blood the night that we were like we went to do Rambo's, and it was I forgot what it might have been a West Virginia show, it might have been a Hagerstown show, I'm not sure, but I know this was around Hagerstown where this happened, and like we were drunk coming back from the strip club, and I remember it was really bad weather outside, and it was like an ice storm, and we're driving. And we look over and I just see headlights in the woods. And I'm like, that's weird. And then like, as we keep on doing, Blood's like, hey, what the fuck's happening? Like we keep on seeing headlights in the fucking woods because there's ice on the ground and people don't see it. It's black ice and they're going. So eventually we fucking 360 on the fucking ice and stop right in front of like a traffic jam that lasts for 2 hours. And me and Blood at this point, we're like, fuck it. We're drunk. So we sit there, we take our hoodies and we cover up with the hoodies, turn the car off and close our eyes. We wake up to a cop going with his fucking, flashlight on the window. He's like, "You boys all right?" We're like, "Yeah, we were just sleeping with this traffic jam." He's like, "All right, go ahead. It's over. Get out of here." And so we fucking get out of it. But no, dude, like that was another night where it was like, fuck. Like, yeah.
But we had some sort of it. Me, Blood, and Awkward actually were going to a Rambo show one time. And again, it was during a snowstorm, an ice storm.
Okay.
And we hit a patch of flecking black ice and we spun out. And we literally stopped like a foot before the bridge, like the edge of the bridge.
Yeah.
But then the car, like we literally didn't move for like 3 hours because the traffic was so bad. So we missed the show, obviously.
Yeah.
So we get up there, we were like in the Charleston area. We're like, fuck it, you know what? We're just gonna go to the fucking Gold Horseshoe. So I went to the strip club, went to the casino, and it was a good night. It was still a good night.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. It's like, oh well,
we're gonna do that anyway.
Yeah. It's like I mean, dude, every single time we went to a wrestling show, we would end up at a strip club every time. Like that's just the way that it worked.
It's crazy though. Like Cornette was actually talking about this a few months ago when Jay Briscoe passed away. Back in the day, like before, so many wrestlers were dying of drugs and shit. The thing that killed the most wrestlers probably was car accidents.
Yeah.
So think about how much guys traveled, the bad roads and all that shit back then.
Mm-hmm. Dude, trust me, I know I drive a truck for a living. So it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing. Like, when it was storming earlier, I'm like, oh, well, it's storming. But you know what? I've driven from like here to Parsippany, New Jersey, like fucking with like rain happening, like the whole fucking time. And of course, Jason in the thread, he said, "Who's the guy in the background with the mustache in that picture?" And I guess he's talking about that picture right there behind me, which that is the Natty Bo guy. Natty Bo, so of course, Maryland, everybody that lives in Maryland has a lot of Maryland pride. So you probably see it. That's our Maryland flag. One of my friends gave me that as a housewarming gift when we moved into our house. So that's the Natty Bo guy. So if you drink National Bohemian beer, the brewery used to be here in Baltimore. So when you go down in Baltimore, there's a big light of that Natty Bo guy where the brewery used to be, and it winks. Like it lights up and it winks, and it's there like gigantic, like probably like what, say like at least like 30 feet by 30 feet or something like that. It's not as big as the Domino Sugar sign, which is one of the biggest signs you can find, light up signs or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's
good cheap beer. Natty Bo.
Yeah, Natty Bo is the way to go.
But hey, real quick, one more story about the whole wrestler, car accident thing.
Yeah.
Here's why I miss kayfabe being dead. I don't know if you've ever heard this story, but Sam
kayfabe dead. You don't say.
All right, Sam Bass, who was a manager in the territory days.
Okay.
He actually was Jerry Lawler's first manager.
Okay.
But he got killed in a car accident, and like the night before, a show. And so the ring announcer comes out and he says, obviously this is before internet and all that shit, so nobody knew.
Yeah.
He says, I regret to inform everybody that last night Sam Bass was killed in an automobile accident.
Oh shit.
And this motherfucker had so much heat that when the announcer said he had died in a car accident, the crowd popped. That's how much heat this fucker had. How
could you imagine being that good of a villain in wrestling?
That you die.
That you die and the crowd pops because of how much they hated you, but you died. So what I'm going to do real quick is, of course, Sara St.Clair, she'll probably join us closer to 8 o'clock. Normally we always advertise 7:30 when our guests come in 8. Sometimes they pop in a little early. Sometimes they don't. But what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to get into our featured beer. So of course, our featured beer the last couple of nights, last couple of weeks has been by Yingling Brewing Company, and it is Bongo Fizz. And I tell the story every episode that I was out scouring for Easter themed beer, like a hoppy beer for rabbits, hoppy. And I sit there and I make eye contact with this adorable little dog sitting with this cute bird, this cute parrot on top of, this beach chair right outside of the beach. And I'm like, I don't know which one's Bongo and which one's Fizz, but
the can real quick.
Yeah, so there's the can right there, and of course it's a mango flavored beer. So we've had it the last couple of weeks. I think we have like 3.
I think it was Did you know about Yingling?
Yeah, it's
But just by looking at these guys, I think the bird is Fizz.
Okay,
I think the bird is Fizz.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like the dog is Fizz. So, and the bird's Bongo, but I can see how Bongo can be a dog's beer.
Remember Spuds McKenzie?
Yes, McKenzie.
Spuds was the best. When I was like 8 years old, I won a Spuds McKenzie doll at Ocean City.
Nice.
And my dad was so happy because he was a Budweiser guy. He's like, oh, you gotta win that, kid.
But what we're gonna do also is, of course, our featured shot is the one and only Fireball. cinnamon
Oh,
whiskey. So we have had Fireball in the past. This was a Christmas gift. It was actually this, and it came with red plastic cups with the Fireball devil on the front with ping pong balls. And I was like, is this fucking Fireball pong? Like, I'm going to be in fucking cardiac care.
It's going to be like when your dad, your dad played beer pong with 151.
Before we went out on the short bus, and my dad played fucking beer pong for the first time in his life, and he played with Bacardi fucking 151. And like, we were just like, bro, we ain't doing that. Like, that ain't happening. And sure enough, like, he fucking made like 4 cups and drank that 151. And those cups were generously filled, like, you know, very, very much so. And like, I just sit there, and that's why, you know, with this show I drink, but that's why I don't drink the way I used to, because I know I carry that gene. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm not really, you know, too sure if I want to go down that path to where I'm playing beer pong with Bacardi 151. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to take this shot of Fireball, and then we're going to take a quick break. As I said, we may take 2 because we started at 7, you know, aside from 7:30 because we were bored. And I was like, fuck it. I picked up Socrates early because it was storming his ass off here in Baltimore. And so I'm going to go ahead, do this shot of Fireball, and then we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back and into a couple more things. And then Sara St.Clair will be joining us. So here's to everybody. Cheers at home in case you have any shots or anything like that. Boom, tap this here.
It burns so good, doesn't it?
It burns so good. It definitely burns.
For those
so
you
good.
see me relapse again on air tonight, I'm trying not to. So I'm trying to not do that.
So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here live on YouTube Live with the Happy Hour Pod.
What's up, everybody? This is Corey from Carved Stone, and you're watching the Happy Hour Podcast. Rock on.
But with a hard on.
Make sure you check out our friends located over at Hysteria Brewing Company. They are at 9570 Burger Road, Suite J in Columbia, Maryland. Make sure you pop out, say hey to Ty, and try their featured brew, Trash Panda, along with all the other crafted brews they have. And once again, that's Hysteria Brewing Company, 9570 Burger Road, Suite J in Columbia, Maryland. See you guys there.
I just need a little more money.
Yes, I told you my luck was going to change.
All you do is tell Crystal what you want.
This is amazing.
Welcome to the Crystal House!
Hi.
Come on, bring it in.
It's like I'm in a fucking Stanley Kubrick movie.
No!
This is Haley Reed, and you're listening to the Happy Hour podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, we're right here live on YouTube Live. It is myself, and of course, Socrates, our artificial AI intelligence, is here with me as well. So, of course, those were our ads. Of course, we started a little bit early. Sara St.Clair will be joining us momentarily here on the show, and we will be getting into whatever the fuck we end up getting into. And it's funny because I always put down, a little map out of what the episode's going to be. And then we never get to it. We never get to it because it just goes off of the rails, which is what I love about the show, because that's what the show. That's the thing. That's why we call it on the fly here. That's the way, it works out. So
and here's the question. You've now got the world's smallest fridge. How many beers does it actually hold?
So that little fridge. So actually here, let me pull this up right here. So Socrates is talking about, if I can do that little tiny fridge right there, which I have a bunch of stickers on. I have like a Team Skeet sticker, and Never Have I Ever, Curtain Jerker Designs. Of course, shout out Curtain Jerker Designs. They do all of our amazing, beautiful weekly graphics for the Happy Hour podcast. Our guest graphics done exclusively by Curtain Jerker Designs. That fits 6 small cans in it. Wow, so it was a free gift that I got. My job every year, they have you go on, and for Christmas they have you pick out a gift. So that's what I ended up picking out. So now whenever we have cans, I can put those in there. And if I have bottles, we're still fucked. Like we have to just have however many, bottles in that. And of course, right here in the YouTube thread, Jason said, so did you eat any of that cake, Ray? Yes, I did eat some of the cake. So
and tonight, High Priest is eating some of that cake.
High Priest is eating a whole triple E size tit worth of that cake.
Here's the thing. I'm not a boob guy, but tonight I will be.
I'm not a boob guy, but tonight I will.
Yeah.
But see, and it's funny because of course during our ads, you saw the ad for the TheHHPod Rumble, which is a little bit over a month away. So that's going to be our second annual TheHHPod Rumble. I don't know if anybody, joined us last year, will be joining us again this year or whatever. But of course, that's when we bring back 30 former guests, Royal Rumble style elimination. And we play our themed game Incoherent. So we play Incoherent, which you will see us play tonight with, Sara St.Clair right here on the Happy Hour podcast. And pretty much what it's going to be, this is going to start off with number 1, number 2, just like the regular Royal Rumble. We will show the cards up on the screen, just like regular Incoherent. They have 1 minute to successfully guess what the card says. If they can't answer it in 1 minute, they use one of their 2 saves, which is either the Kofi Kingston, which automatically saves them from elimination, or the hot tag, which they can hot tag any active participant in the Rumble to answer that card, or they can just choose one of us to give them the answer. Once those saves are gone, if they get eliminated after that, they're eliminated. And then the winner, just like Johnny Goodluck last year, shout out to Johnny Goodluck, who won the entire TheHHPod Rumble and was the last person standing, we will send them a custom-made Happy Hour Pod Rumble championship belt for them to display in their house. What other podcasts do that? Because I'm telling you this now, I have not seen one other podcast that brings 30 former guests back and does a Royal Rumble with one of their games. So that is a Happy Hour podcast exclusive. If you see it anywhere else, they're ripping it off us. So
I don't think I've ever seen a podcast with 30 people on it in general. That's got to be a record.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna be in the Guinness Book pretty soon.
Yeah. But of course, Jason said, "Are we going to do a live stream from Exotica?" Jason, as much as I would love to, the thing is with Exotica, we will be shooting content there. So we'll probably talk to our boy Jason. We're excited to meet Jason. We will be at Exotica in Edison, New Jersey. We're not going to do DC this year. We're going to do the bigger one in Edison, New Jersey. That's the one everybody tells us that we need to go to. And of course, Jason is coming in his pants wanting to meet us there. So we're definitely going to go there.
I really hope Flogger guys there.
Oh yeah. I hope the Flogger guys there too.
You got to do it again. Yeah. You got to do a repeat.
But no, I mean, it was great. But the thing is if we were to do a live broadcast, I would have to rent a table. And unfortunately, right now, since we don't have a sponsor for the show,
so if anybody wants to sponsor it,
I think the table is like $1,000, which I would do because it would get us a lot of ground. It did last year, but I just, my regular job and all that. And, honestly, guys, I don't make any money off the show. People may think that I do, but I don't. I haven't really made a dime off this show. I do it, because it keeps us entertained and, you guys enjoy it. But I don't make any money off this show. If I did and I had a sponsor, I'd be like, hey, sponsor, why don't you do this for us? It'll get us a lot of traction, whatever. So, yeah, that's the thing. But we will be recording content there 100%. So, and I think out of the Rumble Pod participants this year, I feel like we have a solid group. Like, we have a lot of heavy hitters this year. Like Sin Sage, she did good. Allison Ray did good. Like, we have a lot of people.
Is Johnny Goodluck coming back?
Johnny Goodluck's going to be back. He was the first name.
He can pull a Shawn Michaels and repeat.
He was the first name announced. And then, of course, you have JC Clark from
Light Divided.
From a Light Divided. She did extremely good. She was one of the most revered people, one of the most feared people in last year's Rumble. And then she had to go. So pretty much it was like a self-elimination type thing. David Gilbert will be back, which you remember last year, David Gilbert was eliminated before it even began because he had all kinds of issues. However, this year, Katrina Ray, who's his daughter, who's a model, she's a former guest. She will be here this year. So she will be able to help him get his stuff together. So this year, David Gilbert is going to try to redeem himself and be in the Rumble Pod this year. So, that's the whole thing. It's just, we're doing the whole damn thing, and, we're doing the best we can and just trying to put out the best content that we possibly can. And, I know sometimes it gets monotonous, or sometimes we just kind of repeat stories or whatever and all that stuff. But some of the stories could be new for certain people or,
we've got so
whatever.
many.
And I was thinking about this because, of course, I always do the breaks when I need to pee because I have the bladder of a toddler. And there was another podcast. They're on TikTok all the time. I forget the guys' names, but they always this is how we did the cereal bowl the one day, like the cereal draft me and Matt did. And I'm going to bring this up again with Matt. And they were talking about Socrates, when you pee, how do you pee? When you go to pee, do you pull out just your dick to pee, or do you pull out your dick and your balls to pee?
Well, nowadays I have to sit down because I got a problem. But when I was still standing up to pee, I usually just pull out my dick. I don't think I pull out my balls.
Okay, see, like that's the thing,
because you don't need them.
Yeah, because we watched that video and Jess me and Jess were talking about it, and I told Jess, I was like, well, when I do it, my balls and everything come out, and she's like, really? She thought I was a weirdo for it. And I'm like, no, pretty much my balls are kind of like a resting spot for my dick. So I don't have to hold it or anything like that. Just flop the whole thing out, and I pee. Yeah, it's more comfortable, and it's I don't know. It's just weird to me. I'm wearing jeans and I have to unzip there and then try to fucking garden hose it out of my fucking pants or whatever, and then flop it back. And at least that way it's undo button, undo, boom, thump, do the fucking thing, boom, flop it back in, boom, zip out, see you later. That's the thing, and it's it's weird, but that's the thing too. And I sat there and I was like, it's kind of a double standard, because if a girl were to blow you, they're not going to sit there and go, okay, unzip, pull out just the dick and just go at it. No, they're going to sit there and undo your button, unzip, and then flop the whole fucking thing out, and then just have their way.
Speaking of blowing, I got one more story. I got popped into my head because of you telling that. So for those who don't know, High Priest had never shaved his balls until last week.
Oh, so you're new to the ball shaving. So Socrates,
wait.
How old are you, Socrates?
I'm 41.
So you're 41. So 41 years you have been on this planet. And you remember, I nared mine.
Yes.
Because I nared from here down. Yeah. And Blood was like, you're as soft as a baby. And I remember Blood kept on rubbing my test, and he's like, you're so fucking
he was marking out.
I feel like Blood wanted to fuck me because of how smooth I really was. He wasn't, thank God.
Here's the thing. Technically, I still haven't shaved my balls, but the chick who I was telling the story about earlier I was with, she was giving me how do you say oral pleasure?
Yeah,
in the parlance of our times, and she said she got a couple hairs in her mouth, and she was grossed out.
Oh God!
And she asked me very politely, she said, "Do you mind if before I blow you again, if I shaved your balls?" And I was like,
wait, like, what do you like hold on, like, because that's the thing. Like, I've either been completely clean or I've been like George of the Jungle down there. And either way, like, I never really kind of gotten a complaint. Like, I've always seen like girls go,
right.
pick it off and just kind of, fling it down or whatever. But I've never really been asked, hey, can you do that? Like, I've been at points where like it's gotten ridiculous, where I was like, this is bothering me and I need to take the hedge clippers to this. But
so here's the thing, I let this girl who was going to get a needle out of the dumpster and shoot it up her nose. She was grossed out by my hair in her mouth. Anyway, but she's like, can I shave it for you? And I was like, do I trust this girl to take a razor that close to my balls and my dick? And of course I did. And shockingly or surprisingly, she did a pretty good job. So now, for the first time in my 41 years on the planet, I have a nicely shaved, manscaped area.
Nice.
And she did. I'm going to give her credit.
Socrates, I am proud.
Shout out to Heather. She did a good job. She did a good job.
Well, I mean, I love that you were like, oh, well, she basically wanted to put like a fucking syringe in her nose, but she didn't want to do that. Like, I don't like. And
here's the funny thing:
for anybody who's new to the show, Socrates loves the working girl. Like, he loves the working girl, especially the one that's buried in the yard at his old house. Like that, but that's a different story.
That's a story.
Please alert the authorities because he killed a prostitute, but no one's supposed to know that.
Kayfabe.
Yeah, let's kayfabe that.
But you know what? I've trusted guys to blade me in the ring.
Yeah.
Who I had never met before.
Dude,
Here's the thing.
I'll give you a lot of credit because I would never let someone blade me.
Yeah.
Because like that could go so long, so quick. Like, I mean, anytime I've ever bled in wrestling, it was always hard way.
Right.
Like, I've never like bladed. I've never had to blade.
Right.
But it's the kind of thing that if I did have to blade,
You'd
I
wanna do
would
it
blade
yourself.
myself.
Yeah.
I don't want someone, because I think Savage used like, who was it that Savage got mad and bladed?
Oh God.
I remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I forgot who it was, but they wanted blade, and Savage was like, yeah, and fucking just bladed them himself, and it was like, holy shit.
But what I was getting at
Like,
was, I was more nervous with this girl having this razor near my balls than I ever was for another man blading my forehead.
Wait, so she shaved it for you?
Yeah, she shaved.
Oh, okay. So that's a whole different.
Pretty good
So
job.
really, you didn't shave your
That's what I
balls.
said. Technically, I still haven't shaved my balls.
Okay, so
But here's the funny thing: like, I have very little body hair, right? Like, I barely even grow facial hair. For some reason, my balls are hairy as fuck. I don't know. It's genetics. I guess shout out to my dad. I guess. I don't know.
yeah. Jesus Christ.
She didn't complain after the second one, so I guess she did what she had to do. You know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Like, it's funny because Jason was like, "Have you ever went to the bathroom and like you don't want to turn the light on because the light is too bright and you have to go to the bathroom?" There have been so many times I've been drunk and I've used the bathroom in the dark, or like you'll be someplace and they have those motion sensor lights and you're shitting and then the motion light goes off, and it's one of those things where like I don't know if everybody does it, but I know when I wipe, I look every time. So if the light's out and I can't wipe and look, like I'm disabled on the toilet. Like I can't go, like I'm sitting there waving my arms, clapping my hands, like I'm throwing things over the stall, trying to get this light to come on so I don't die in the bathroom, shitting.
Not just when you wipe, but as a guy, when you take a dump, you have to admire your work. You got to see what's down there.
Oh, every single time.
There was a time just recently, maybe a month or two ago, I was at the Horseshoe, and I took a shit. I'm not gonna lie, I took a shit so big. They got those automatic flush tools. Like that. I thought I was gonna clog that thing up for a minute. Like, this turn was like 2 feet long. I ain't gonna lie. Like I think my lower intestine fell out. It was bad.
That's the thing. Like
I need like this giant catfish sub. Kind of brewing
a giant catfish sub. So is it like? Did you just take this live, like this big, like cut down catfish? You just put it on like regular bread, and like the catfish is just going like crazy, and like you're just like fuck you, catfish. You just bite into the catfish. Like,
it was a little loose. One thing about remember when we went to the podcast at Jimmy Seaford a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
and you were talking about how expensive they are.
Shout out Jimmy. Shout out Jimmy.
As I said earlier, when I took my friend Heather to Phillips, it was $87 without a tip. But I ate half of her crab dip, so it was good.
Okay.
Hey,
I mean, as long as you got the $87 back after the dinner, then that's okay.
To be
Okay.
fair, I
So,
did.
I mean, and she shaved your balls.
she
for
shaved my
you.
balls
Yeah,
for me,
yeah.
so,
So, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like,
no other
you know,
girls ever
yeah,
shave my balls
yeah.
for me. I mean,
I mean, you know,
it's like
hey.
I said. It's like you said in Clerks. You know, most girls don't bring a lasagna at work. They just cheat on you. Most girls don't shave your balls for you. They just cheat on you.
Oh my God, this is getting out of control. And of course,
Wait, one more thing.
yeah.
This girl, I'll give you one hint where she used to work.
I'm going to guess that it begins with a C and it ends with an S. And we used to frequent the place all the time. And I will also hold on. I want to hold on. Wait, because I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I think I'm starting to map it together a little bit. I believe that it may be a woman's name, and that the logo outside has a girl on a stripper pole and has black lettering. How close am I?
You're very close.
So it is Christina's, which is where the War Pigs table still sits, which was our table that we would always sit at when we would go there at the wrestling shows, and you would have to take a walk in order to get a tip.
This is now that I know of at least the fifth girl that I've had that's worked there. So I'm at a half dozen now almost.
Yeah. And Jason said, I don't know if I would trust a woman with a razor.
No.
And it's like, but I mean, when you look at it, they're like a woman, like if they use one of their own razors, because they have like those like nice little padded razors that they use to like, you know, shave themselves and shave their legs and like all that shit. So women's razors are a little bit different than men's razors, because I remember
this was my razor that I used to shave my face.
Yeah, towards the end of my career, I remember using Jess's razor to shave my chest and shave my back and, you know, all that shit. So, you know, that's the whole thing. I remember using it and it was a lot more easier. I wasn't fucking cutting chunks of my fucking flesh off.
For the record though, this wasn't a woman's razor. This was my regular razor. I used to shave my face.
A razor that Socrates had that was 16 years old that had rustle. You know, somebody died on 1,000 Ways to Die from using a rusty razor.
Really?
Like they were shaving and like they cut themselves just very slightly, and like the rust got into it and absolutely fucking just decimated them. And they fucking died. And by the way, I got a notification on my watch. The Orioles are beating the Tigers currently. So I figured I would tell you that right here live on YouTube Live.
We'll see what it's like by the end of this podcast.
We'll see what it's like. I'm believing that it might be one in the same. I'm thinking it's not going to really change too much. So, of course, Sara St.Clair should be joining us momentarily. I know she just shared it on Twitter and all that stuff. So for everybody egerly waiting and anticipating Sara St.Clair to come through, hopefully she comes through.
Until then, we'll just tell stories about me getting my balls shaved by random girls.
Dude, but no, like that's the thing though. Like, you know, it's weird with shaving, and for any guys out there, you know, it's like, I know a lot of times like guys are like, oh, well, this is weird for me to shave. This is weird for me to shave. I didn't shave everything. I nared everything, like from here down to my toes. The hair on my toes was also
Why did you
nared.
do this again?
For fucking wrestling, because workers are like have no hair. But when I burned myself severely when I was doing it, because I figured, okay, I'm going to do this in the shower. If I nair in the shower, I'll be okay. Because nair, I think you have to have like 15 minutes before you can take it off. So I'm sitting there just lathering. Like, it's like I have like a loofah and I'm lathering myself in fucking nair. Like nair all over on my balls, on my dick, on my fucking chest, on my arms, my pits, my legs. I'm just lathering it in. And I'm like, I'll just stand underneath the water and just let the water rinse it away.
Oh, great.
But instead, what happened is the water ended up rinsing away a lot of my flesh because it was burning a hole into my fucking insides. So,
but on the upside, you were a smooth son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, I definitely was.
You know, this makes me wonder now, though. Of all the girls that have blown me in my life, how many got a mouthful of hair and just didn't say anything?
Oh God!
Like, you know, that's a trooper right there. If you're getting a mouthful of hair, you don't complain. Hey, I'll give you credit. Shout out to that. Shout out to all the chicks that have ever sucked my dick.
Oh yeah,
Come on.
Shout out to those poor women. Those poor young women who had to deal. Oh, by the way, it says that the Orioles just doubled and they scored again. So I don't think, you know, I don't think your Tigers are going to pull it off tonight, bud. So
Well,
what we're going to do is, of course, it's 8:00. So eventually we got to get into the things that we kind of talked about a little bit online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with pretty much an ad that I saw on Vice, and a guy pretty much said that he downloaded a bunch of games that he saw advertised on Pornhub, and he tried not to come while playing those games. So it says here, I spend a lot of time looking at Pornhub for my job, and there's
My
one
job.
type of ad on a site that I can't get out of my head. The visuals changed, but the copy is often the same, presenting me with the kind of challenge or dare, perhaps with the hint of hostility. Try not to come while playing this game. The challenge is typically paired with either a Dungeons and Dragons-esque big titty goth girl or some other animated character. Recently, I've seen a lot of Elsa and Anna from Disney's animated Frozen doing terrible things in these banner ads. They mock me. Try not to come, they say. Just try. So it goes further with saying, oh, so all right. So here's what I'm going to do right here on Zoom. I'm going to go ahead, share screen, boom, basic, hit this right here. So pretty much it shows like a little like image of what the Elsa and the Anna look like, and it's pixelated, so you know we can get away with it. But like Sacred, if you look, that's like kind of what it looks like right there. So, and it says the insinuation is that these games are so titillating, they're horny Disney characters so sexually potent that the player would not be able to play them for long before uncontrollably climaxing. In the spirit of public service, I decided to go down the rabbit hole of the porn game ads and try not to come in the process. So he gets into this whole thing of, you know, doing the games. And he said, you know, when you sign up, when you put in your credit card information, you get to choose your gender. He chose male. Choose your sex partner, Liana or Varisa. He chose Varisa and wondered why he assumed that he's a straight male. And he said, choose my dick size, small, medium, large, or massive. Who the fuck is going to choose small or medium? Like, so it says, which is the width of a skateboard, according to a helpful visual aid of a CGI person. And it says, choose my partner's breast size. And he chooses massive. Yet again, who's not going to choose that? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, why?
Small.
Like, so,
some small things.
yeah. And then it says, after gathering this basic information, the questionnaire begins asking more serious questions. Anything can happen in these games, including aggressive sex. Is this okay with you? This game has been called the most addicted sex game online. Do you have what it takes to play? To prevent any problems, this game includes a lot of domination and female submission. Is this okay with you? Do you have any medical conditions that could arise from playing games? For example, seizures, addiction, or aggressive behavior. Knowing that there's aggressive sex in these games, aggressive behavior may be present. What turns you on in games? And then, you know, he says he goes through the stuff with the credit cards, you know, all that stuff. And then you come across to the games, and he gives the score of the game. So he said that, so the first game, and I'm going to go back here and go ahead and click back on share screen. The first game is Call of Booty, the parody. So it says there's a short intro using still images that explains his assignment is to extract Sarah, who is wearing a camo thong from a group of terrorists. The game itself is a simple first-person shooter, which looks like it was made with free assets from the Unity Asset Store. I dropped into a rocky terrain with an assault rifle and soon found a rather extraordinarily dumb terrorist to shoot. The entire thing runs on a browser. Poorly, and they showed like a kind of like a little video of what it looks like with you with, you know, the machine gun and all that shit. And it says the controls are terrible and I can't figure out how to reload. Also, my aim is bad to begin with, so I died 3 times in 5 minutes. I'm sorry, Sarah, I failed you, but it's my time. I don't have time to get gut at Call of Booty. Final review. So far, not only have I not come, but I have not even had a chance to try to come. The next one is Grand Fuck Auto. So Grand Fuck Auto says, here's my task. Find the hottest babes around, fuck them in Grand Fuck Auto style. Hilariously, it is in the style of the early GTA games where it was like an aerial view. And it says with a top down 2D view of a car. Also true to the original, I drive around looking for sex workers to pick up, which happens to be a visual novel cutscene. Talk to them in most aberrantly abusive ways possible. Then run from the cops. I hit headfirst into a car and the game is over. So it shows a little image right here of what that looks like. Final review definitely did not come. World of Warcraft. This is an endless runner where I am an orc who can't stop running at full speed. All I can do is jump, slash, dive, and die. I die 6 times. Twice was because I jump lagged and I ran headfirst into a large rock. Final review, no come. Tetris. I tried to play Tetris, but it requires Flash, which Motherboard's Guide to Not Getting Hacked clearly states hackers love because it has more holes than Swiss cheese. I got all the enjoyment I'm going to get out of this game from the title alone. Final review did not come, attempted not to come, and nearly endangered my computer. And then there's Cyberfuck. Cyberfuck seems to be a riff on the board game Cyberpunk 2020 and is off to the better start. The instructions are about pleasing a woman. Maybe I will come today. Despite these very sexual instructions, this is a goddamn puzzle game, and I'm awful at puzzles. Somehow I die trying to solve one. I've had it. Final review did not come.
Poor guy never got to come.
And then there's Gotham Sluts. Gotham Sluts is a visual novel that finally lets me see some sex. Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, fuck the Batman, in sporadic moving still images. It's hard to describe, but the only things moving in these are the bouncing boobs and a dick. And the only thing you can swipe back and forth is your cursor, like it's a flip book. In other visual novels, this game isn't very interactive and essentially involves me clicking through simple storylines. The gameplay part of the game here is swiping back and forth with my mouse as fast as I can simulate Batman's thrust. It is more explicit version of WarioWare Touched. I would say it's a hornier version of Touch, but the game is also very horny. Final review, the game at least had sex, but I did not struggle to come. I did not struggle not to come. Going all the way. Maybe I need to get away from parodies and play a game that doesn't mince the words or pun around. I load up Going All the Way, which is based on the name alone implies that I will go all the way. Sadly, it's a pickup artist game like Super Seducer. This game, basically a big dialogue tree where I talk to ladies and try to have sex with them. I try to answer these idiotic questions correctly on the off chance that someone can come today. This is the first game I played where I can reach the point of having sex or even seeing a nipple exposed within the first 2 minutes. Actually, a few lines of dialogue and I've successfully talked the woman into sex. After carefully reaching the point where I can make my move, finger her juicy pussy is the action the game offered. I was presented with a close-up hand on a bare vulva. The motion of vigorously swiping over this image at the office is too much even for me, so I close the game. Final review, it pains me to say it, but Going All the Way gets the highest score for me of all the games I've played on this website, if only because it promised boobs and it swiftly delivered. However, I did not have to try not to come. So, that's pretty much that. So, when his quest was over, he decided to cancel his subscription. So that's the whole thing there. So, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't think I've ever like messed around with like any of those type of games or like I see them advertised all the time. So, you know, the whole thing is I feel like there's a lot of like, you know, kind of a roundabout, like we're going to advertise this, but this isn't going to be, you know, what exactly happens type thing with these games. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's an exact cock tease of a game.
Here's the question though. If he played that many games and he didn't come, did he cry?
And Jason Rushman, have you ever wrestled with Hulk Hogan, Ray? No, I have not. So I have not.
Well, hey, here's a stat. I've wrestled 2 guys that wrestled Hulk Hogan.
Let's see. Have I worked guys who have worked Hogan? I can't.
You ever worked Samu?
I worked Jake. Did Jake work Hogan?
That's a good question.
I don't 100% know if Jake worked Hogan. I worked Jake Roberts, but I'm not sure if Jake worked Hogan.
Did you work Samu?
I have not worked Samu.
Because I worked Samu and Nikolai, and they both worked Hogan.
Yeah. So I know they definitely did. But yeah, I don't think I've worked anybody. Did Bob job to Hogan?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
Bob works in names. I don't think he works over.
Yeah, I know Bob works Savage, Macho,
Yeah,
Michaels, guys like that. And of course I work Bob,
like-
but I don't think, those guys. And right now Sarah's trying to get into the room. So hopefully,
Hi.
hey, hello, how are you?
Hi, are you able to see me?
Yeah, here, let me see right here. Let me click that and see if that helps out. Sometimes it just doesn't come right through. And then when I hit that, it'll come right through. So let's see. Ah, there you are.
Hey.
Hello. How are you? Of course, we got a little bored. We started at 7:00. I always say it's the opposite of a pro wrestling show. They always start late. We always start early. So we were talking a little bit about before you came through. We were reading an article from Vice of somebody who got on and played a bunch. I don't know if you've ever seen on Pornhub, but the advertisements for like the various games on Pornhub. And the guy got on and played all these games and tried not to come while playing these games. And they were all kind of like bait and switch type beta games where like he was very upset about it. Like, have you ever seen any of those like advertised? Like,
Yes, that's always popping up.
yeah, like it's crazy because I think the one I see the most is the Narcos game. And it kind of like ropes you in a little bit where like you're like, oh, this looks interesting. But then I also sit there and go, is this going to be worth $35.99?
Oh, I certainly hope not.
So, but of course, thank you for joining us here on the Happy Hour podcast. This
Thanks
show,
for having me.
we're not going to sit here and ask you, bombard you with the same 20 questions you probably get asked on every other show. Kind of shoot from the hip. Of course, you have a book that you
I
have
do.
coming out. So what's going on with the book? Of course, everybody right here on YouTube Live, everybody in the live feed, if they don't know anything about your book, what can you tell them about the book that you have coming out?
1 second. Oh, it's too high now.
That's right.
I'm sorry. I have my assistant trying to adjust it for me. She came over last second. Let me borrow her MacBook because the webcam is much better. We're trying to get it all set up. Okay, that's good now.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine.
So, book is called Romance Costs Extra. It's
Okay.
gonna be dropping on Amazon come probably mid-June.
Okay.
We have 1 chapter left and then it just goes to the editors for a little bit of cleaning up and I'll be ready to buy. It's all about how I got into this. And I like to say it's based on a true story. A lot of things were shifted, but not so innocent.
Now, what was it like? Of course, I can't still recall, like we've had a lot of adult stars on the show. I don't think I've ever had anybody who actually had a book that is releasing on Amazon or anything like that. Like, what was it like? Like, was there a point when you sat there and you thought, and you're like, man, I had all these kind of crazy stories, like all this fucked up, crazy stuff that's happened. Maybe I should write a book. Like, what exactly?
I'm that person who makes horrible decisions. So I'm like, well, this will make for a good story later on. So fuck it, let's do it.
So what do you think? And even if it's something like, I don't want to spoil the book, but if there's anything that's not in the book, like what are some of like the craziest things? Like of course you've been in the adult industry for a long time. So what do you think is probably one of the craziest things you think you've seen or you've experienced in the adult industry?
As far as like porn or outside porn, extra stuff.
Either or.
Okay. So my current, like this part's actually in the book, and this is still my favorite story. I was I had this client that I was hooking up with. He was married to this chick. We would have threesomes, whatever. So he went to prison for some white collar shit. When he was in prison, she left him. She gets remarried. I start seeing this one guy. He refers his friend to me. Start seeing his friend. I figure out his friend is married to that chick.
Oh.
I just feel bad for her. I'm like, girl, you need to pick better. But yeah, no, that love triangle is one of my favorites.
Now, what about so was that the inside porn or was that the outside?
Outside.
So what about the inside?
Honestly, most of my inside porn stories are just very normal. I mean, I did my first anal scene with Mike Adriano, so that one was pretty hardcore.
Okay. And
but, no, like as far as porn goes, that's probably the best place that I've got treated.
Honestly, like when we first started doing the show, we kind of faded into porn, we kind of faded out, we kind of faded in, we kind of faded out. Like we still have a lot of like non-adult guests, But once we started having almost exclusively every week adult film guests, and then we got the AVN Best Adult Podcast nomination, all that, and then things took off from there. So, we're just kind of like, man, adult film stars are some of the best, most laid back guests that we have, and I love it.
Not take life so seriously.
Yeah. And of course, do you do a lot of the conventions that come out? Of course, we're going to be at Exotica in November.
So funny you asked that. Like last few years, I've been all about it, but this year, like I'm actually putting myself first, and I'm just picking and choosing which ones I do.
Okay. Now,
I like it. I like going out. I like meeting people. I love giving hugs. I like shaking my boobies, being inappropriate, grabbing peepees. But but no, like it gets expensive. It gets exhausting. Like, you tell yourself like, okay, I'm gonna do a content shoot, so it'll be worth it. Like make money in the back end, pun intended. But people cancel. Like things go longer than you expect. Schedules never work out. So it's as much as I enjoy doing it, I'm going to be a little bit more selective this year going forward with it.
Okay. And with doing conventions, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever signed or that anybody's ever brought you at a convention? And what's like your weirdest moment you've ever had at a convention?
My favorite was there was this like card collector guy, and he had like literally 1,000 something like little like cards of me printed, and I had to kiss them and sign them. I mean, he paid me okay for it, but 1,000 something little trading cards of yourself was weird.
Like baseball cards, pretty much.
Basically, yeah, like Pornstar trading cards. Which I mean, I admire the hustle. Like, okay, that's cool if people are willing to buy it, but it's like I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it, whatever. Give them the rate. But once I started doing, I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into? This is so much.
Well,
with that, like what, and I admire, his determinability for that, like him, like being determined to do that, like with the card. So I guess it was a picture on the front. Please tell me you turned it over, and there were like stats, like baseball or football stats on the back of the card, and you turn it over. You're like, he did his research. It has every company I've ever put on the back of this. Of course, Sarah, you're a baseball fan. So
I love my Indians, and they're always going to be the Indians.
Yes, I am the same way with the Redskins. I grew up with the Redskins, and regardless of
what it is,
football team or the guard or what are they now? Like
Guardians.
The Commanders. The Commanders are the Redskins, and then of course Cleveland Guardians. And there's one thing that I remember. My moment with the Cleveland Indians was when the Orioles played them in '97 in the whole, playoff thing, when the Orioles sat through and they played Cleveland. I remember that highly. And then also I remember when Eddie Murray ended up in Cleveland, and I was like, man, like Eddie Murray.
I was there for the
Indians of the '90s was my favorite.
Yeah.
I was there for the Orioles Indians infamous opening day snow game.
Oh yeah, when they had the blizzard during opening day. So of course Cleveland, Ohio.
Tigers fans.
The weather's all over the place. Have you ever been to a game and had it like snow or anything like that while you were at a game?
No, we had a game. We had an opening day get canceled. I want to say around 2013, 14ish.
Okay.
I was still like at that point I moved down to Alabama, so I flew up for the game, and it got snowed out. I love telling my friends down here in the South about that. I was like, yeah, no, like we had a whiteout.
It's funny because this year for the Orioles, our opening day was canceled 24 hours beforehand. The Orioles, the Phillies,
and it barely rained.
The Yankees, the Mets, and
Pirates,
they all got canceled because of bad storms that were going to come through. Believe it or not, it was 80 fucking degrees that day. And then when the storms did come through at 8:45, it stormed for maybe 13 minutes, and then they went out. So opening day was the next day until where Bruce Springsteen was grand reopening the Baltimore fucking arena, and traffic was fucking chaotic.
Oh no.
Trying to get in and out of there. So it's like, yeah. Thank you, baseball. Thank you for making that decision for
my
us.
sister and I went to this last opening day, and the South has ruined me. It was like 45-ish, like 45. The sun was out, so it wasn't raining or snowing, so that was good. But still, like here I am, like t-shirt, sweatshirt, winter coat, like I'm soft now.
And of course, who was your favorite player from the Indians, hands down?
All time, Jim Thome.
I kind of figured that because I saw
Felony.
you post something online about it, and I believe I commented on it saying I love that Jim Thome finished his career in Baltimore because he
That's right.
came over to the Orioles. I think it
Mhm.
was 2011, somewhere around that, and he played in Baltimore. And I was super excited to see.
No, one of the coolest things that I did was they actually honored him at the Louisville Slugger Museum, and
Really?
some of my friends got me tickets to the meet and greet, like answer question thing. It was the coolest shit ever.
Nice. Was it like that? So you got to honor him. So were you there? Like, did you actually like get to,
Yeah, I asked questions and everything.
did he know who you were?
I hope. Fucking hope. Oh God, please.
He's just sitting there like, you know how like the guys like, they're off on the side and they're like waxing their bat down or whatever and all that. He's just sitting there talking to you, and as he's talking to you, he's just, kind of like just waxing like or whatever. And you're just like, he knows who I am. Like without question.
Yeah.
He knows who I am. So have you ever with the Indians, have you traveled any, like, because I know like baseball fans, like I'm kind of the same way. I've been to like several stadiums to watch the Orioles play. Have you ever traveled around to other stadiums to watch the Indians play?
Yes. Yeah. So like I travel a lot for like shoots and other things, whatever. And I like to look at where the Indians are. So be like, okay, they're playing there. I should probably hit up that city at that time.
Have you ever?
My favorite stadium though is Fenway.
Fenway? Okay. I still need to go to Fenway. I haven't been to Fenway yet. Have you been to Camden?
I have not. No.
You have not. You need to.
I've actually only been to Baltimore once.
Okay. Well, aside from all the countless murders that we have,
It's okay. I'm from Cleveland. I get it.
Yeah, Baltimore is a great place to come to, and honestly, Camden Yards, like the way they built that stadium, there's not
Great
a big
things about it.
stadium. You need to come. Like they've done a lot of renovations this year. I'm a season ticket holder. I have 16 games this year as a part of my plan. Like you need to check out Camden Yards. It's completely fucking phenomenal. So you will definitely enjoy it. So what we're going to do real quick, we do a lot of like messed up news articles on this show too.
Awesome.
And we'll react to them as we're reading them. So we're going to go ahead and get into our first one, which is, let's see. A Hopewell woman was charged with a felony after stealing $11 worth of bacon. So in Bedford County, PA, state police in Bedford County have filed felony retail theft charges against the Hopewell woman after she allegedly stole $11 worth of bacon from a local Dollar General. Police say on Sunday, troopers were dispatched to the store located along Racetown Road in Broadtop Township for the reported theft. Troopers said the store manager reportedly witnessed 36-year-old Kelly Snyder enter the store and leave in a short time later without purchasing anything. Police say that the manager was allegedly suspicious of Snyder and claimed that she saw the empty contents of her purse into her empty the contents of her purse into her car after leaving the store. Investigators say that the manager reportedly walked to the vehicle and observed 2 packs of bacon on the seat. Police say that the manager then claimed that she took the inventory of the bacon in the store and noted that there were 2 missing packs. So that this is like a real like crime solver here, this manager of this Dollar fucking General. And also like $11 worth of bacon. Like I feel like with the way the economy is right now, like I feel like and also like I never even knew Dollar General had bacon. Like do they get like secondhand bacon? Like I don't understand like how
I was just on Facebook earlier, and some girl posted something like bacon prices like $7 a pound for like seven pieces. She's like, it's literally $1 a piece. I'm like, the girl's wanted some bacon.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. It's like, so she took the bacon, like, but like. See, as I'm reading this, like I'm imagining they're like, okay, well, they saw the empty bacon packets. Like I was hoping that like she opened up the package and she just took the raw bacon and she was just shoving the raw bacon down her pants.
Ooh,
and then like they just come out and she's pulling out each little strip, laying it out on her seat, lay out another seat, and she's trying to fry the bacon from the sun rays that are coming through her window. And mind you, there's probably drugs
giving me ideas.
Yeah, like, there's probably drugs involved in that process, if that is a process of her trying to fry the bacon on her seat. But that's not how that ended up. And now I'm very upset with that story that it was just
How did she get a felony for that?
Yeah,
though?
like I mean, that's the
That's
thing. Like,
pretty
$11 worth of bacon. Like felony is a lot of money for
serious. You
like
kill somebody.
discounted bacon.
Right.
Like it's not
No.
like
White people just have too much damn time.
yeah, that's totally a white person thing to do.
You
I
read
mean,
that article and that just screams that
Yeah.
is bored white people.
well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's weird because you have these like there's states now where people are literally grabbing stuff. Like they're walking into like fucking Dick's Sporting Goods and they're taking entire racks of clothing
Yeah.
and leaving.
You cannot get arrested in San Fran if you steal under $1,500 worth of product. $1,500.
Yeah. Do you know what you could do with $1,500 worth of bacon? You can make yourself like a bacon cabin. You can go out into the woods. You can make yourself a bacon cabin
You know what, though?
and hope that that cocaine bear doesn't fucking track you down. Which I saw that, by the way. I don't know
That
if
was amazing.
it was one of the most amazing movies I've ever seen in my life.
It should be up for an Oscar.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. And spoiler, in case anybody in the live thread hasn't seen Cocaine Bear, my favorite part was the ambulance scene. The whole entire ambulance sequence was just completely chaotic from the time when they found the bear in the cabin all the way to the point that when the girl's being ejected through the front windshield.
I did not expect a stupid movie like that to be that gruesome. Like, you know, like Saw, Hostel, like all that. Okay, yeah, you know what you're signing up for. Cocaine Bear, it's like, okay, some bear on cocaine. Like, this is getting graphic.
Well, it's funny because it's based off of a true story,
Yeah.
but the only part that is true is the fact that the drug smuggler threw the cocaine out, the bear got into it, the bear got really high, and then the bear died.
Good God.
And, you know, another spoiler, if you haven't seen it, there's going to be a Cocaine Bear too. I'm pretty sure by the
hope
way
so.
that movie ended.
You know what, though? Right, I have to call back, but $1,500 worth of bacon, that probably wouldn't be good for your cholesterol.
It probably would not. Like, I believe somebody would probably die just
Yeah.
consuming bacon. And I mean, I'm a bacon guy. Like, I like bacon, but I'm not sure how much bacon I could tear through, like money wise,
Right.
before I would just sit there and be like, okay, my blood type is now grease. Like, I don't know how.
What if you ate all that bacon, then you ate that entire cake that you got?
Oh God. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like I'll share this with Sarah. I shared this earlier. We had a guest on last night, Sherry Nelson. She's been on the show before, and my birthday was last week. So she sent me out a cake, and I didn't know that it came. My co-host had it, and he brought it, and that was the cake. That was the cake that she had sent out. And you're talking about the heaviest fucking cake I have ever had in my entire life. Like, I picked that bitch up. I was like, holy shit.
I can one up you.
Okay. Let's do it. I divvied up the titties. Like my one co-host took one
I'm
titty.
gonna put it to the camera and see if it'll show. That was my birthday cake.
Ah, nice. So for those of you who are listening at home who did not join us on the YouTube version of this, she showed us a cake with a dick, like just basically an explode.
Yes. It says make a wish and blow, bitch.
Nice. So was that all fondant? Like that whole dick on the top, was that completely edible?
Yes.
Oh, please tell me like you went balls deep on like that cake dick.
Oh, no, I took my best friend and I shoved her face in it. That was a fun birthday. There was moonshine and a goat.
Nice. A moon.
Yeah,
Wait,
it was very Alabama.
moonshine and a goat. So okay. So how did so you're in Alabama? So I guess they own goats, I guess.
Yeah, one of my girlfriends is a photographer, and my birthday is in December, so she was doing Christmas goat pictures, like dress up for Christmas, take cute pictures with a goat. So so she was doing that the next day. So I'm like, oh, want to come by my party tonight and bring the goat. And then one of my redneck friends from Tennessee came down with moonshine, and yeah, it was dick cakes, goat, and some moonshine.
Sounds like a fucking party, because it's actually funny that I asked that, because there was a time, and I may or may not have told this on the show before. We've had so many episodes I don't remember, but there was a time where me and one of my friends, he was moving into my place when we were younger to be my roommate, and he was moving out of our other best friend's house, and he felt bad. He's like, dude, you're gonna be by yourself. I want to get you like a companion, like a rooster, like something. Yeah, he's like,
A rooster.
Yeah, he's like, Bobby,
Not like a dog, a kitten,
yeah,
a rooster.
don't bring anything to my house. Like, I don't like, no, I'm good with you moving out, take the chaos to Ray's house, whatever, like whatever. So we had a long night of drinking. We're at McDonald's, hungover, eating McDonald's breakfast, and he's looking through the penny saver. And he's looking and he sees an ad for baby fainting goats.
Oh,
And
I
he
want one so bad.
Yeah, he looks at me. He's like, Ray, I found Chris's new roommate. And I'm like, what? And he's like, this. And I'm like, okay. So he calls the lady and he's like, hey, I'd like to buy one of your fainting goats. And she's like, all right. So she's going through all this stuff. She's like, what kind of vehicle do you have? He's like, I have an SUV, I have a cage. I have all that stuff that I can put him in. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, dude, you don't have any of this. Like, I don't know why you're telling her this. He has an orange Chevy Cavalier, and his method was going over to a friend's house and getting hay and putting hay in the back seat. So we drive like almost an hour to go get this goat, and we show up, and the lady's like, I thought you said you had an SUV in a cage. She's like, yeah, it's having issues. We couldn't bring it, but hey, I got stuff there. So surprisingly, she sold us the fucking goat. So we get this goat. He's riding around in the back seat, eating hay, shitting all over the back seat. We take him to PetSmart, get him a harness. We named him Henry. So he takes him to my friend Chris's house. And the goat's like walking around the house, shitting everywhere. And I always said, like, I don't know if people have ever seen a goat shit, but the way they shit, it looks like an overflowing popcorn machine. Like the pellets just kind of fall out like overflowing popcorn. And so we're looking at this goat. Chris is at work. So we're looking at this goat and we're like, all right, this is a fainting goat. We need to make this thing faint. Like we need to see
Gotta scare it.
Yeah. So we're sitting there the whole time we're looking at it, we're like, just like, yeah. And it's just looking at us. And we're like, God
I think you
damn
guys
it.
got scammed.
Like, yeah, this goat's broken. Like we have a defective goat. Like we're like, should we just take it back and like try to get a refund? So at some point the goat just starts like, how like goats like get on those weird, like they kind of get like the zoomies kind of like how dogs do. So the goat kind of does that. And it jumps up on the couch. And when it does, it scares the shit out of me. And when it scares me, it scares the goat. So the goat's in midair and it goes dump, lands on the couch like this, and then falls off the side of the couch. And then we're afraid that the goat's dead. And it just kind of laid there for a couple of seconds, comes to, and then my buddy comes home and I'm on the phone because I'm at work at this point. And he's like, Bobby, what the fuck did you get? What's in my house? And there's all this commotion. Lo and behold, he kept the goat for about 2 days and then he got rid of it, took it to my friend Bobby's house. His dad had the goat. The goat slept in bed with him. He had it for like 8 months. The goat ended up ramming him in the face. And then Tony from the county ended up coming and getting the goat eventually. And I don't know whatever happened to it after that. So
that might be one of my favorite stories I've ever heard.
Yes. That. If you ever come to Maryland and you hear of an area called Dundalk, that is a very Dundalk thing to do. Is go get a goat. Like, yeah, that I say all the time. There's so much of my blood, sweat, and semen in Dundalk that, yeah, just some of the legendary stories that we had there. Just, yeah, that's one of them. So with that, like, have you ever had any situations like that where you just had just a completely wild thing go down and you're just going, all right, look, this is how it's going to work. I'm going to do this.
Well, damn, you're putting me on the spot after that bomb ass goat story. Let's come back. Let's come back to that one after Sarah has her.
You're like, I need a shot after hearing about Henry the goat.
Yes.
And the worst part, like we're in like just a regular PetSmart, and like everybody's like, oh my God, look at your goat. Mind you, there's not a fucking goat anywhere in town. Like you're not supposed to have goats in the county. Like that's the thing. You can't have them as pets unless you have like a farm license.
I do have a good story. This is Django St. Clair. Django has a fetish for eating condoms.
Really?
Oh, he loses his mind. He will jump in the trash can. Like, I bring him with me when I tour, and like I used to just throw the condoms on the floor in between whatever. And it got to where like I had to stop doing because he would eat them, and I would witness him pooping them out. It's the most horrific thing. Even still, like even like when I like no condoms in sight, he will run in the room and sniff around for the wet spot on the bed and lick it up. So his name is now the cleanup crew. So he found the perfect home with me.
Yeah. Now
Right.
with him eating the condoms, like that, when he poops them out, is it like almost an intact condom, or is it like?
Yes.
Oh, that's
That's
fucking tremendous. Like one
You
of
know
my
exactly what it is.
One of my
The first time it happened, we're in a hotel and I'm like, I was on the phone, I'm like, oh, I think he threw up. I walk over, I'm like, oh my God, I wish he threw up.
just imagine, like you look down and it's the poop, and it's
Yeah.
just like the condom, and it's like the poop's half in the condom, the poop's half out the condom.
Yeah, it's basically just condom with a little bit of poop around it.
Yeah, you're just like, this looks like some sort of fucked up, cracked out
So yeah,
balloon animal.
that's my sweet dog.
We had a Halloween party one year, and we don't get a lot of kids, and I'm convinced that my dog will not die from whatever she eats. She has an iron stomach, so we don't get a lot of kids here. So we went to BJ's and we got a 20 pack of full size candy bars, and we had a Halloween party. We always had really big Halloween parties. So we told everybody, we're like, take any of the candy bars you want with you. We'll give the rest out to the kids. So we get maybe 3, 4, or 5 kids. So they took 5 of them were gone. There's 15 left. So we push them all the way as far back on our counter as we can. So we see on our camera, she's sitting there swatting at them all day long. She pulls herself up, hits it, pulls it down, eats every fucking candy bar, wrapper, and all. And she,
alive.
yeah, she like 15 candy bars in that box. So wrappers and all. And she panic eats. So what she did is she pretty much swallowed them whole. And we get home and I see and I'm like, oh fuck. I call my wife. We're flipping out. Like we call the vet. Vet's like, okay. Like how's she acting right now? We're like, she fucking seems okay. Like right now, like she's throwing up a little bit. And like the whole time she was literally pooping chocolate bars and wrappers, but she was also throwing up. And when she threw up, she was throwing up wrappers with melted candy bars inside the fucking wrapper.
That's how she lived.
Yeah. So she did that. And then this past year, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Matilda. Have you ever seen Matilda?
Oh yeah.
My wife was Miss Trenchbull, and I did Bruce Bogtrotter, which Bruce Bogtrotter was the kid that ate that cake. And he had yeah, so I did that, and like I had the cake all over my face. And so I was Bruce Bogtrotter, and the cake frosting I used walked out. I left it laying on the fucking table in the house. She ate the entire fucking thing of chocolate frosting. Fucking fine. Got home. She was fine. Happy to. I'm like, how are you not dead? Like it's fucking cake frosting. What I'm going to do, I'm going to search
The dog is invincible
on Facebook and see if I can find that Bruce Bogtrotter photo, because there's a couple of hilarious backstories with that costume. So let me just look real quick. I'll see if I can find that, and you can see a photo of that real quick, because it was funny, because if me and my wife were together, everybody knew what the costume was. If we were not together, everybody thought I was just walking around with shit on my face. So everybody's like, is that shit on your face?
What's your costume?
Yeah, what's your
I got
costume?
shit on my face. That's my costume. You got a problem?
Are you an ass eater? Like what's going on here? And it's just like, no.
I'm a German film star.
All right, so here we go. So let me just pull it up here, share screen, boom. So this was the Bruce Bogtrotter.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah, so that was Bruce Bogtrotter. That was that one. And then of course there's me with like, and that's actual cake. Like I was like nibbling on that cake like all night long. So like, and like people would like go the other way because I had active cake and frosting on my face at all times. And of course that's my wife. That's her with the trench ball stuff on or whatever. So when we were together, everybody was like, oh man, that's amazing. This, that, and another. And I'm just like, hey, but yeah, I mean,
God, I'm obsessed with Halloween, and that is the best.
Yeah. Have you, speaking of Halloween, like there were a couple photos above that. Have you ever been to Salem for Halloween?
Not for Halloween. I went in the summer and I still loved it.
You need to go on Halloween. We went on Halloween the year before, and it was fucking insane.
Was it?
Yeah, there were literally at least 5,000 people. If you went into the downtown area of Salem, there were at least probably 5,000 people, just literally like dicks to asses the whole entire time.
I love it.
just in the square. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to take a quick break in case you need to hop up, use the bathroom, whatever. We have a couple of ads we're going to play. Then when we come back, we're going to get into our game segment, which is always a hit with all of our guests. So we have like a handful of games. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break right here on YouTube Live, and then we'll be back in about like 4 minutes or so, and we're going to get into our game segment. For everybody watching live here on YouTube Live, this is the Happy Hour podcast, and we will be back momentarily right here on the Happy Hour podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Corey from Carved Stone, and you're watching the Happy Hour podcast. Rock on.
But with a hard on.
Make sure you check out our friends located over at Hysteria Brewing Company. They are at 9570 Burger Road, Suite J in Columbia, Maryland. Make sure you pop out, say hey to Ty, and try their featured brew, Trash Panda, along with all the other crafted brews they have. And once again, that's Hysteria Brewing Company, 9570 Burger Road, Suite J in Columbia, Maryland. See you guys there.
I just need a little more money.
Yes, I told you my luck was gonna change.
All you do is tell Crystal what you want.
This is amazing.
Welcome to the Crystal House!
Hi.
Come on, bring it in.
It's like I'm in a fucking Stanley Kubrick movie.
No!
This is Haley Reed, and you're listening to the Happy Hour podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Happy Hour podcast. We're right here on YouTube Live. Of course, Sara St.Clair is here with us. And Sara, if you have any safe for work trailers that you ever want to send our way, shoot them over. We'll play them during our ads for you with no problem at all. So what we're going to do, of course, throughout those ads, everybody saw the advertisement for the TheHHPod Rumble, which is happening on June 9th, right here on YouTube Live. 30 former guests come back. We play one of these very games we're going to be playing shortly during that in an elimination style, and the winner gets sent a championship belt. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our first game. which is a relatively new game to all the other ones we have, and it's called Extreme Personal Questions. So what it has 2 questions on the card, question A or question B, and you're going to choose one of those 2 to answer. You're not going to know what the question is until you choose A or B, and then the other one you're going to choose myself or Socrates, who's off screen, to answer that other question. So for that, do you want A or do you want B?
E.
B. All right. So B, what is something that no one else knows about you?
That's a boring one. Was A cooler?
Do you want A?
Yes.
A is, what is the ugliest thing you own?
I'm answering it?
Yeah.
Ugliest thing I own. Does enemas count?
We can take enema. I know mine. The first thing that pops in the head, and I don't necessarily own it, it's my wife's, but her cousin had went out to the thrift store, and my wife likes owls, and he found this fucking statue of the ugliest fucking owl I have ever seen in my entire life. And he works with my wife, and he left it in her office. I was like, I'm buying this for Jess. And it just sat there. And now it is in her closet in her house. And I have to look at that thing every so often. So that's Extreme Personal Questions. What we're going to do now is Never Have I Ever. So Never Have I Ever, 3 random cards out of the box.
Wait,
if you've done it.
I thought you were supposed to ask one of us the personal question.
Oh, yeah. So who do you want to answer question B? Which is something that no one else knows about you. Is it me or is it Socrates?
Let's go the guy off camera. He hasn't talked enough.
All right, Socrates. I know this is going to be a good one because of how
Anonymous. He can say whatever he wants.
So yeah. So what is one thing that nobody else knows about you?
Oh God. I mean, I wish I had like an exciting one, but I think I've told every story in this podcast. I literally know the lyrics to every Amity Affliction song ever written over like 8 hours, like literally 90 songs. I literally know the lyrics to every song.
Okay, I
mean, people probably know that because I'm an Amity man.
I mean, Christ, you said
I literally know every one of them.
You said in the beginning about hooking up with a girl who was a junkie who fucking went out to a dumpster to look for a fucking syringe and squirted it up her nose or some shit before a guest. Yes, that's a whole other story. That is a whole different story.
That is impressive.
Yeah, that he was telling me about before. Okay. Socrates has a weird living situation. He's currently living in a hotel.
And he knows the lyrics to Randy.
Fun. I like him.
Yes. But what we're going to do now, we're going to get in Never Have I Ever. So 3 random cards drawn out of the box. If you've done it, take a drink. If you want to give an explanation, that's cool. If not, then you don't need to. So the first one is, never have I ever engaged in hot tub foreplay. So I definitely have.
Actually have not, I don't believe.
You have not? You've never? Okay.
Does getting fingered in a hot tub count?
What's up?
Does getting fingered in a hot tub count?
I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a step above
That's kind of
hot tub. Yeah. I mean, like, I think I would skip past the foreplay for that. Like, all right. So the second one is, never have I ever had an HR report filed against me. I have not.
Not me either.
Yeah, I have said some things that could have possibly.
When I was a teenager working at a grocery store,
when I was younger.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, she's taking a drink now. She's like, wait a minute. Whoa.
No, I used to bartend at a hotel, and apparently I pissed off some uppity old ladies because I was flirting with some business guy, being like, "Ooh, ladies." Had to explain that. No, yeah, that one. And then the other one was my best friend. Her and I were bartending on New Year's Eve night, and at midnight we kissed behind the bar, and they didn't like that because Alabama.
Yeah, a lot of mine when I was younger, I worked at a bowling alley as a mechanic. And we were all young. We were all between like 20 and 26.
You once wiped your ass with the lane rag.
Yes, I did. I did tell that story on here with the dirty, greasy like rag because there was no toilet paper then. but we used to joke around that sexual harassment did not exist in that building. So we would always say such vulgar, demeaning things.
Oh yeah, no. All of my
Yeah,
complaints has been from customers from what I was doing behind the bar. Never internally.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
just what we do.
especially you being the bartender or what? Yeah, like that. That's definitely
I
one.
worked at a hotel bar. It was all traveling business dudes. So I had shirts down to here. The dress code was just black and black. So I could wear as low cut shirts as I want. I would shake those martinis.
Yeah, I'm sure the tip.
I made more money there than I did stripping.
Really?
Wow.
Holy shit. That's impressive. That's really impressive. Yeah. Nice. Nice. So here's the last one. Never have I ever been called the wrong name during sex. I have not. I would not care if I was, because I would be engaging in the sex. I wouldn't care, but I don't think I've ever been called
I've
the
had girls
wrong
call me some derogatory names during sex. That's a different story.
But were they the wrong derogatory names?
They could have been.
At times.
And now you let me shit on you too, you son of a bitch. All right. So what we're going to do now, we're going to get into our game called Incoherent, which is our game that we featured during our HHPod Rumble. So we're going to show a series of cards on the screen. I noticed you were taking a couple of shots. That's good because it's going to help you during this game because they're in drunken lingo. So you have to try to figure out what each card says. So I'm going to go ahead and get those ready to show those up on the screen now. So the first one is going to be this. What do you think that card says?
Oh, I think I know it.
And one of the hints is round and perky.
Something about licked ass.
The last word is ass. So it says 2 plastic surgeries and implants later.
Something kicked ass.
No, but you got the ass part. Sometimes I like to tell people use a southern accent and say it fast, and you'll kind of like somewhat hear yourself say it.
Something kicked ass.
You want to tap out on this one?
Yeah.
All right, Socrates, what do you think? Do you know what it is?
Is it perfect ass?
It is perfect ass. So you like a perfect ass. Perfect ass.
I'm an ass.
Oh my God. That's great.
So it is perfect ass. So what do you think this one says? I'll let you look at that.
Ooh, I think I know it.
Extreme orgasm.
Ah, yes, there you go. And hence our big finish and finishing with dignity. So yes, so you are 1 for 1. So what do you think this one
1 for 2 actually.
says?
That's it.
Yeah. And one of the hints is porn in your house. A lot of these are probably done via OnlyFans. Making XXX videos with your iPhone. A lot of these get released of celebrities.
Homemade sex tape.
Yes,
Oh,
homemade sex tape. Awesome. Thank you. That is our incoherent game. So what we're going to do, of course, this is our
Yeah,
Ode to
2 out of-
Humanity segment. Yeah. So she did pretty good. So that for anybody tuning in on June 9th, that's what our HHPod Rumble is going to be with 30 former guests. So the final of this, of course, is our Ode to Humanity segment, is Cards Against Humanity. Have you ever played Cards Against Humanity?
I love it.
Okay, so we do it roulette style here because obviously you can't have cards in front of you. So what we're going to do is we're going to read off the face card, and then you're going to get a number between 1 and 6 to roulette style answer that card. If you don't like it, you get 2 rebuttals to choose a different number. So this one is, don't miss Rachel Ray's hit new show, Cooking with Blank. What do you think? Lucky number 1 through 6.
3.
3. All right. So don't miss Rachel Ray's hit new show, Cooking with Surprise Sex. You like that? Or do you want to rebuttal and choose a different card?
I like my choices.
You like your choice? All right. All right. So we'll get into the next one. So there's that one. So the next one is, did you know our college was recently named the #1 school for blank? 1 through 6. 5? All right. So 5. So 5 is, did you know our college was recently named the #1 school for 72 virgins? So are you satisfied with that? Or do you want to choose a different card?
Number 3. 3's my lucky number.
3? All right. So did you know our college was recently named the #1 school for Auschwitz?
I got dark.
So it went from that to being very, very dark. Are you satisfied with that, or do you want to use your last rebuttal?
I'm Jewish. Let's go with Auschwitz.
Nice. My wife also is Jewish. So yes. So awesome. Thank you for taking part in our Ode to Humanity segment. And Sarah, of course, you have your book coming up. So what all else do you have coming up down the road?
So the last year or so I've kind of just been fucking off and just having Sarah's fiddle time. So I've been working on the book, and I'm actually about to go back to LA and Miami in June and start shooting for big studios again. So you're gonna see me on Pornhub again after fucking years. So look, like it probably said on my sheet, I've been in the industry for 7 years, and I tell people the key to it is take as many breaks as you can. When you're not having fun, just stop doing it and then just go back in when you want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I did professional wrestling for 20 plus years. And that's kind of the way it was. There were times where I was having a lot of fun. And then there were times when it was really stressful, and times when it got stressful, I kind of
have to walk away from it.
Yeah, I faded away, then I went back, and then faded away. And then, due to the experience with wrestling, being able to talk, being able to just talk to anybody in general, that's how this kind of, came to be. And that's how I run a show. I'm like, I don't want to go into it with a script or anything like that. Like, we call everything in the ring during wrestling. That's how, I do this. So what we're going to do real quick, we have a segment. Are you very, very squeamish in any way? Like, do you like Cocaine Bear? Like, was the gore a little too much for you?
Oh, I love gore.
Okay. So we have a segment that we have called How Did We Get Here? So we show an image on the screen. Normally it's pretty gory. And then you tell us, how did we get here?
Fuck yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So let me go ahead and get this ready. And I will get this on the screen.
By the way, obviously, I wrote a book. I'm a storyteller, so I'm going to give you.
So how did we get here?
Some guy wanted to date a goth girl, and everything went wrong.
I feel this is what happens when you cross the king. You cross the king, and then you end up with a dagger in your chest. Yeah. And it's funny because like when I
blood sacrifice, okay.
Yeah. When I found this story, apparently somehow when I found that photo, the story was somehow that guy stabbed himself. And I'm like, how the fuck did he get that deep into himself? Like,
that's what drugs he was on.
Yeah, like that's like, do you sit there and do you like vampire yourself?
That's like some old school
with that
samurai.
Yeah, like I feel like he was trying. Like I feel like he felt like he was a vampire, but he also felt like he was Van Helsing. Hey, so he had to.
Just because the man wanted an honorable Japanese warrior death, don't judge him. Okay?
Problem. I'm the problem.
Yeah, meat. God,
of all the ways to kill yourself. I mean, Christ.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ. And they said that they showed like him with his chest open and his heart beating when they were pulling the sword out. Like the sword was like right, like it just missed his heart when they were pulling the sword out of. Yeah, so he survived.
Fucked up suicide.
Yeah. So what the fuck? But what we're gonna do, Sarah, we're gonna let you go ahead, get ready to get out of here. We appreciate you being on our train wreck of a podcast because that's truly
that's kind.
what it is. So, and I'm glad that you got to hear one of the most amazing stories ever with that goat story, and that is 1000% true. That is just
Oh,
something.
I'm gonna tell everybody that story. Thank you for that.
Like, but Sarah, what we're gonna do, can you hang out for 1 second once we're done? Awesome. So
Definitely.
what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, wrap up here on YouTube Live. Of course, we're going to be back here right here on YouTube Live next Sunday, April 30th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Our featured guest is Brenna McKenna. She's going to be joining us right here on the show. Make sure you tune in, check that out. Click the subscribe button and head over to Below the Collar. Buy some of our t-shirts. We're going to be sending one out to Sarah herself as a thank you for being on our show. And Sarah, where can everybody find you? Of course, don't give out your address. There's a lot of crazy people out there. You don't need a man with a sword in his chest showing up at your house, you know, all that
That
stuff.
sounds kind of kinky. Gangbang with some dude with a sword in his chest. You can find me on Twitter at Sara St.Clair XXXX, onlyfans.com/Sara St.Clair XXXX.
All right, cool. Sarah, we appreciate you coming on to the show. And of course, everybody, let me real quick check the live feed just in case there's anything going on in the live feed. Actually, our Jason Rushman, he asked, have you ever worked with Tommy Pistol?
Wow, I'm such a whore. I can't answer that. I feel like I did. I want to say yes, but if I did, it was like probably 6+ years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't feel bad because I get people all the time. You remember that time you wrestled this guy? And I'm like, bro, I've had 5 concussions.
Went together after a while.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm lucky I remember where I live from getting hit in the head so many times. Like, you know, so, but yeah. So, all right. So, Sarah, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and wrap up right here on YouTube Live. Everybody, thank you for tuning in right here on the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, make sure you click like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next week right here on the Happy Hour podcast, exclusively on YouTube Live. So there's that. Let me